Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Los here. We on the Dos of Los podcast. I got my mans with me today. He came out to show you guys some knowledge, to kick some wisdom for y'all. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How's it going, guys? My name is Brandon Narain. You can follow me on Instagram at Blue Notes Brandon, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur. And I'm really excited to go ahead and be on the podcast. We've been watching all the good content, and I'm like, I got to get on here. So I'm very happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Yo, I appreciate you coming because, like when I got started with this, you don't realize the people that you have around you. Like, you just think like, oh, these are just my friends or these are just connections that I have.
Yeah,
but when you really start to tap in and you notice like who's around you, is like, I seen your Instagram for a while. You've been like blowing up a little bit on the real estate wholesaling
slowly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I've been following that for a minute. Talk to us about that. Like,
yeah, so essentially what I do is called real estate wholesaling. So we basically market to potential homeowners, right?
Okay.
People that might have not paid their taxes. Let's just say if you inherited a home, divorce, things of that nature. And we market to them and we try to get their property under contract. Now, once we get their property under contract, we find an investor that will buy it for more. So essentially it's kind of like wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of flipping paper. Some people call it flipping papers. So we just do that in volume, and I run a business to where, you know, I have people call these people and, you know, do a little bit of real estate. And, you know, that's how you get to learn how to flip houses, as well as own them, rent them out, things of that nature, all while you're doing it basically kind of for free because you don't have to put too much money up front.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that because we've been cool since high school. I think like sophomore year, maybe
10 plus years.
Yeah, it's been a grip, but it's crazy because you have people in your life that you grow up with, and then there's people that make it and they got that drive, that ambition, and then you see a lot of people that they just comfortable where they at.
Yeah, they're stagnant. Yeah, they're stagnant.
Very stagnant.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's real crazy. So kind of to do a brief history on our relationship. You know, way back when, I was bad. You know, I was a delinquent kid. And growing up, I blamed a lot of what I did just on my, you know, having an absent father. You know, a lot of people have that, right? Absent fathers, and they blame a lot of the stuff that they do on that. You know, so I was just always wanting to be in trouble, wanting to be around people. So I think what it was, man, is it was literally when I let go of that grudge that my dad wasn't in my life. That's when I decided to do better. I don't know why, but I think it's like holding grudges. And that's why I love this podcast, because it's the throne of positivity, right? So holding grudges literally will drain your energy, and you gotta keep that energy, you know, at the highest frequency if possible. So I think it was when I let go of that grudge to where I decided to say, hey, listen, you know, what do I need to do? And I decided to go ahead and I made two mistakes in my life, right? That first mistake was holding that grudge for so long, which thank God, you know, I never was, you know, I guess penalized for it. You know, never had any felonies or things of that nature. But
thank God.
Second mistake that I made was wanting to do what my family wanted me to do, right? So they wanted me to go to college. They wanted me to get married. They wanted me to get a family. You know, all that stuff that they tell us, right? And when I said, you know what, I'm gonna do what my heart makes me happy, that's when I started to flourish. And I think ever since then, it's kind of just, you know, put my foot on the gas, and it's just been going 100 miles an hour.
It's good, man. And I've witnessed that because, like you said, starting from the beginning, like we was just trying to find ourselves. I would say, speaking for myself, like growing up without a father as well, it's like when you younger and you acting like a delinquent, whatever, it's just like you don't really know how to behave because you don't have that identity yet.
Exactly.
And what's important about what you said is like your life really started once you let go of that grudge. And there's a saying out there that if you hold on to a grudge, it's like holding a burning hot coal in your lap in the hopes that it's gonna burn the other person.
Like hot potato.
But you just holding it, and if you let it go, it's just not you good at that point.
Disappear.
You know what I'm saying?
The coal already burned.
Exactly, and you let go of all that pain, and it allows you to move forward in life. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like as soon as you let go of that pain, it clears up your vision. And at that point, you could focus on the things that you want. And you start to begin to know, like you said, like I'm not just trying to be what my parents want me to be. Like there's desires that you have in your own heart, and if you pursue them, you can make a lane for yourself.
100%.
And that's what I've witnessed is like, you know, who would have thought? Like in high school,
yeah.
you was
Nobody.
always the freshest kid, bro.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like your Majestic ain't just a nickname. You know what I'm saying? Like you always had
For
the
sure.
fresh kicks, the fits, everything.
I think I came out of left field because if you were to look at me back in the day, you would have never thought, you know what I'm saying, that I would even be probably close to successful. And that's the good thing about it, because that goes ahead and tells you, like, you got to treat the next man or next woman to their highest potential, because you don't know what they could be.
Exactly.
And you don't know when somebody can help you and when somebody can't, you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I love it because now, honestly, what I've been telling a lot of people, man, is that I can't wait to go to like the high school reunion. Because I really want to see how my peers and my friends, you know, where they're at, you know, because it's kind of like coming out of when you're in high school, you're like, man, these are my friends and I'm gonna be friends with them forever. And then as soon as you go into college, it's like first year, second year, you just stop talking to them.
Like probably 99% of all of them.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, and kind of what happened with us too, right? So now like we kind of meet paths again on Instagram, and it's like, wow, you're here and I'm here. This is great, you know what I'm saying? But there's also other people where it's like, hey, what have you been doing, and how can I help you, or how can you bring value to me? So I think it's funny how life is, especially growing up. And I think that high school really brought me to where I am now. You know, I got expelled from 3 schools. And I graduated basically from an alternative school, right? I didn't get to go to graduation. So I didn't get to go to graduation. But I think that all of this stuff really helped me in my entrepreneurial life, because it showed me not to quit. Like the tenacity to not quit. That's what really kind of pushed me over the ledge. So I knew that if I could do that, what can I not do, you know? But the biggest thing is value, right? I think a lot of people, they're scared to invest in themselves, you know? So that's the thing that I've tried to learn myself. And don't get me wrong, you know, I run a 6-figure company, but there's still times that I doubt myself. You know, still times that I know the proof is in the pudding. Look, we did this and we could do it again the same, you know, the next month. But it's like, you know, could I do it again? There's always that you know, that conscious mind, right? And what I tell people is you can't negotiate with yourself. You just got to go ahead and do it. And if you feel that gut, that burning sensation in your stomach to where, yo, you just got to do it. It's kind of like when you're talking to God, or when you know, sometimes God makes you do things to where it's like you feel it in your gut like you're about to throw up. It's because that's God saying, yo, you have to do that.
You got to.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's cool, man. I love it. I love how my life is, you know, coming, especially now with the coronavirus. This is like a testament to literally a bunch of people in the world on how we can still come out on top, you know, and remain positive.
Absolutely. And
not corona positive, though.
Yeah, not corona positive. We want to keep that at bay, but it's definitely true. I like how you said, like, most people, they just don't have the confidence in themselves. There's a lot of people that could see the visions of other people, but they can't see it in themselves. And if you could get over that hump and really believe in yourself and follow that ambition, that burning passion, that desire that you have within yourself, there's a place for every single person in this world.
100%.
Everybody. And like you said, like you part ways in high school and you never know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to cross paths with somebody. And then, like you said, you could help each other build up. And what I think I've always learned this is that success happens in a community. It's like there's no one just individual who makes it to the top by themselves. That's like a false idea.
And to actually... To go along with that, when I first started wholesaling and making money, I didn't want to tell anybody about it, right? I wanted to keep all my fruits to myself, right? I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing because I didn't want to help people. Like, it's like this whole time, you know, I'm trying to come up in life, and it's like I learned something. Why would I want to help anybody else? Who's helped me, right? And I started noticing that when I started actually teaching people online and basically showing people what I do, God started giving me more and more success. So it was really weird. And then, you know, I did my first, I'm Catholic, so I did my first communion and all of that last year. And I feel like, you know, when I turned myself over to God, it was really different, because before I had the mindset of if I don't know what's wrong or right in God's book, right, or how he's looking at me, then he can't judge me. It's like God, like, it's like committing a sin. It's like I didn't know that was a sin, so don't punish me. And now that I do know it's a sin, it's like I gotta follow his guidelines, and I feel like it's made me a better person. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So and it's all stuff that stems from preschool and kindergarten.
Principles.
You know what I'm saying? Principles, right? So treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
Things of that nature that we were just taught when we was little, literally now just makes so much sense.
Absolutely. And it's like, I love that you brought up that conversation about God, because without that, I wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah.
And having that guideline, I'm pretty sure like in your business, you could make botched deals. You could probably cut corners and, you know, really get ahead in the beginning of things. But since you doing it right and you taking the stairs instead of the elevator, it's like you're going to build up that principle, that morality, your reputation. And it's just like, you're going to be blessed off of that, because God sees you're not just out here trying to stick people for their money. You know what I mean? Yeah. And other people are going to see that, and other people of value who may be way ahead of you or in places you want to go. Yeah. Like that video of your man's that you showed me on Instagram. Yeah. It's like you want to talk about people who are already where you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like, why not me? Yeah. Right? I think a lot of, in the minority culture, I feel like, you know, growing up, a lot of the times, so growing up now, right, we go into the clubs and we're always looking at what other people, you know, what they have, right? You know, he has these nice pair of shoes. He got this nice necklace. He got this nice watch. You know, he got a beautiful woman by him, right? And instead of saying, you know, why him, or why them, it should be why not me, right? And a lot of the times I don't feel like people open up and say, you know, hey, Los, I like what you're doing, man. Can I be a part of it? Instead of it's more like, yo, you see what he's doing, that's cool. But they don't want to be a part of it. Why? Because I feel like they just don't know how to open up, right? And I got something, I want to mention it because my whole life, right, I wanted to go ahead and get my family to accept me, right? And seeking approval is horrible. Right, is literally seeking approval. I feel like is deemed by the devil, right? Because when you're seeking approval from somebody else, God already made you who you are, right? And that's the way you're gonna be. You shouldn't be seeking approval from anybody, right? So I've always wanted my family to acknowledge me. I always wanted them, you know, when I was becoming successful, I wanted them to ask me questions like, "Yo, what are you doing? How you doing that? How can I help?" And what I noticed is that it's the opposite. They're like, you know, they're scared because like, yo, I grew up with you. It's like, I don't know what you're doing now. And it's like, it's kind of like a friendly competition because we're family. So it's like, I don't know if I want to be a part of it. But it's funny how things just start to transpire, and sooner or later, man, you just can't quit. You just can't quit. You have to have that motivation to say, you know what, if the throne of positivity is what I'm meant to do, I got to make sure that everybody hears it no matter what.
No matter what. And it's interesting that you say that. Like the people around you, you would think will show you the most support.
Facts.
And then they kind of doubt it, because it's like, and this goes back to the Bible. The Bible says that a prophet is not welcome in his own home. And why is that? Is because like even Jesus' brothers, they was like, him. And the reason why that is because we come from the same place, right? Like like you said, minorities, wherever we at, we like crabs in a bucket. We want to get there, but we don't want to see people that are around us get there before us. Sure, and it's like, yo, 100%. Even if you my brother, is like, why did he do it? What's different about him? He has the same situation I had. He grew up without a father. How come he did it? And then it goes kind of similar with what you said before of why not me? And it becomes that victim mentality.
Exactly.
Instead of focusing on like, yo, he did it, so that means I could do it.
Yeah.
Let me go behind him and let me ask him, yo, how can I start? We about to get $1,200 checks. What's in that respect? What kind of advice you got for people on that?
So it's funny, right? So I have somebody that works for me, right? And young guy, he's 19, and you know, I saw him on Instagram, and he was flexing some money, right? And he said, he was like, you know, this is not even my tax return. And I texted him. I said, listen, man, if you're still interested and getting your tax return, you're in the wrong tax bracket, right? If you're counting on getting your tax return, you're in the wrong tax bracket. And growing up, when I was college, it took me 5 years to get my associates, right? Which usually takes you 2 years, right? But in those 5 years, I'll tell you what, I was actually every semester, my Pell Grant, I would save my money. And after I would save my money, there was these hoverboards that came out a couple years ago. Remember, from China?
The one that you was on in the video.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, a friend of mine, he started up a little business in the mall, Sanford Mall, this mall, whatever, a long time ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. And I told him, I said, bro, here's like $4,000, take it and do whatever you want, right? And at that age, I'm 23, 24, whatever, 22, and other people are taking their Pell Grant and they're using their money to just to buy whatever, right? I'm over here saving it because I knew what. And I think one thing about it was, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not good, right? So every year, people are like, yo, I want my tax return. I want my tax return. And they're using it on something that's never going to elevate them to the next level. Same thing with the stimulus package, right? The $1,200, there's people taking business loans out there, right? So I was telling people, right, listen, if you're a small business and you're going to take this business loan, yeah, you might need it to recover your business. But if other people aren't working, they're not going to buy your product anyways. So you're really putting yourself in more debt.
Absolutely.
Right? So if I own a t-shirt company, Trump's going to give me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, whatever the case may be, to keep my business afloat while this corona pandemic, pans out. If everybody else is still not able to buy anything or not making money, they're being laid off, employment rates are going up, who's going to buy my t-shirts? And I still got to pay back that business loan. So I think that you have to look at it in a perspective which is ROI. Everything is ROI. Like right now we were talking about your whole setup, right? The microphones, this is all of it. What is my return on my investment? And a lot of people look at things like materialistic. Everything is an emotional sale, right? I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. So that's what I would say to that, man. Is literally use those $1,200 and put it into something that might make you more money. Now, if you're in a position to where you got to do it for bills or whatever, then that's what it is. But I think you should take this time to really try to explore what you're good at and what you want to do versus, what the next man wants you to do.
Exactly. And it goes back to what you were saying is like, you got to invest in yourself. You got to know what is it that you want. What are your gifts? You know what I'm saying? Your gift may be connecting with people.
Exactly.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, you may have gifts and talents that I don't have. We may not be going to the same destination, but we might be going in the same direction. 100%. And if I could help you in any way, steer your ship, and you could help me with putting the sail up, like we could get to the same direction and part when we got to part.
Exactly.
But it just takes that time and that confidence, because if you're insecure about things, you're not going to want to help the person that's next to you.
Yeah, and so the thing is, right, I think it's just always looking at the next step. A lot of people live for today, not for tomorrow. And, it's just honestly making smart investments, trying to do something to where you're good at. I mean, there were so many things. I worked at the barber shop. I cleaned until I learned how to cut hair. I volunteered at the hospital till I got hired. Then I wanted to become a nurse. And all those things, I didn't want to do in life. But the pattern is I'm trying different things until I find out what is my gift, right? And I think, going to what you were saying before, I think a lot of people just settle. And once they settle, and they don't settle only in their job, they settle in their relationship.
Everything.
They settle for their friends. They settle for, a lot of stuff, right? So in this life, you only have one life. You shouldn't be settling. You should live your life to the best ability, as well as helping other people at the same time.
And I think when you hold yourself to that standard, like not just the minimum, the bare minimum, because all of us, I feel like it's easy to just meet that. That slight expectation that's expected of you. But if you raise the bar, you'll be surprised at like what you can actually accomplish. When you set that expectation, because and it could work in the opposite way. Like if nobody expected you to be at the position that you're in, you could use that as fuel for your engine as well. Like I'm gonna make sure like this is what's driving me. And it's beautiful that you could get to where you want to be. Wherever 100%. You are in life, you're there by decision. Because it's not lack of resources that's holding you back. It's not lack of connections. It's not lack of skill or anything else. It doesn't matter where you come from, what language you speak. You can make a way in this world.
100%. And I think it's to elaborate on what you're saying there is crazy, because you really just have to take initiative, right? And tell yourself, this is what I can do. And I say this all the time, right? Let's just say there's a hurricane outside. And people, let's just say you've been trying to holler at some girl or whatever, right? And she finally tells you, hey man, I'm trying to, Netflix and chill while there's a hurricane outside, right? Most people are gonna go ahead and do it, right? But if I were to tell you, listen, man, I want you to go ahead and put out some signs in people's yard, right, while this hurricane is going on, right, and I promise you, you're gonna make a lot of money. They wouldn't do that, right? So I want to go ahead and use that analogy to my high school. I was 2.2, right? College, probably the same thing. And now I'm a 6-figure earner. So it's kind of like the statistics never, you make your own statistics. And like you said, my resources was not really college, but it was just put in my mind to what I wanted to learn.
Absolutely.
I wanted to learn real estate, so I went and got my real estate license. I failed at that, trying to list people's houses and stuff. I got fired on my first person. And then I learned about, investing in real estate, and I fell in love with it. And once I fell in love with it, it was like everything was about that. So if you fall in love with something that is an income producing, let's just say job or task or whatever it is, you're going to make money off of it, especially if you're really good at it, right? And kind of talking what we were talking about before, how do YouTubers make money?
Yeah.
There's people that literally just make tutorials on how to open up your phone. I seen a video, my business partner the other day showed me a video on how to cut a mango and eat it. And I'm like,
I've watched videos like that.
So, and he's like, yo, the crazy thing is it got like 58 million views.
Whoa, that's crazy.
You might be good at tutorial videos that might make you a substantial amount of money, but if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability. And also do it to where if you look back, you're going to be like, you know what? I did it the best. Like, no regrets. That's what I do. I tried my best. There's no regrets. I can walk away from this now and say, you know what? It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you have to put the effort and really commit yourself to it, because at the end of the day, like you said, you could walk away from it and have no regrets. There's no remorse attached to your failure.
Exactly.
But if you fail and you didn't put 100%, like that failure, what was the point of it? Especially
100%.
if you're not gonna learn from it. So it's just you gotta commit yourself to it and not get distracted, because like you said, that hurricane could be coming, and the girl, she's telling you let's Netflix and chill. But how are you preparing for that hurricane?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And then what are your plans for after that?
That hurricane.
Because if all you're worried about is the movie that's gonna be playing or holding her attention, like
Facts.
what's gonna happen when that hurricane passes and your house is destroyed?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I mean, and so let me ask you this: going on with what's going on in the world right now, what do you think is gonna happen?
Like with this right now, I'm not confident that we're gonna just stop at April 30th and then everybody's gonna go back to normal. Like we've never experienced something like this. I don't know in history if we've ever experienced something like this besides the Great Depression and like 9/11. But even 9/11, that was something that, it happened and there was a little bit of kickback afterwards, but we recouped. And for me now, it's like, what's going to happen afterwards?
Yeah, so right now, in Trending America, they said that every I think it was 100 years, 1920, 2020, there's always been something big like this, right? As well as there's obviously conspiracy theories out there that is, election year, right? Yeah. That this is happening election year. But we were due for a recession, right? The market was supposed to collapse. It was funny because I've been in real estate now 3 years. My family, my friends, everybody's been telling me, Brandon, when are you going to buy a house? Like, right? It's kind of like, I'm in real estate, but why don't I own a house? And I kept telling them over and over, I said, the market is going to crash. The market is going to crash. The market is going to crash. Now, I didn't know it was going to crash like this.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was going to be panned by a virus that might wipe up, a lot of our population, which is very, very scary. And in the beginning, I want to say that I wasn't too worried about it. Yeah. But now it's kind of like, this is really serious.
It is.
And I think it puts a lot of fear in people, and actually, I used to tell people all the time, like, I can't wait for it to crash so I can buy more houses. But thinking about it, I think I was in the wrong mentality, because with that being said, a lot of people lose their jobs. A lot of people lose their houses. And, one man's trash is another man's treasure. But I don't wish that upon anybody. So I'm really hoping that we can, a hustler is always going to make money, right? A winner is always going to win. So I'm really hoping that, we can just come out of this all in a positive way, even though it's already affected millions of people.
Yeah. And it's good that you say it like that, because, you're not wishing that. I had the same mentality, like, that the market has to crash. It's just, I think it's like every 10 to 12 years, it has to dip a little bit. Yeah. Because growth is not sustainable.
For sure.
A consistent growth is not sustainable in any market or any industry. So, what I think is the most interesting part about this time is like trying to figure out what to do after getting out the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like you could see the light at the tunnel maybe, but what are you going to do once we come out of that tunnel? And I think, like you said, a hustler is always going to hustle and a winner is always going to win. Like there's going to be so much ripe opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Because when a house burns down, let's say it burns down on like land, when it burns down, that ash, it becomes fertile ground.
There you go.
And that's prime opportunity to plant the seed and what's the crop that you're going to raise up and then eventually harvest. So that's the interesting part, is to like try to think about that now.
So in life, the way I like to look at it is you can make money in life if you find something that's a big demand and you find the supply, right? Whether it's hard labor or an actual product itself. So as you can see, a lot of people now are selling masks, right?
Yep.
So there's a big demand for it. If you have huge supply, you're going to make a lot of money. So it kind of goes into, at the, the light at the end of the tunnel. What is it that you're going to be able to go ahead and capitalize that maybe other people can't? And once you do capitalize, how many people can you help come up with you, right, to monetize that? And I think right now, like we were talking before, Forex trading, stock trading, real estate market, things that are, probably that are going to, why I love real estate so much is because it's tangible, right? Everybody needs shelter, water, food. So real estate is tangible and it'll always be here. I can teach you 100 ways on how to make money on a property. So I would suggest everybody learn at least a little bit of real estate. But essentially, I think right now is the time to try to find a way, like you said, a game plan to when this does, pass over, what are you going to do with it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually want to talk a little bit more about real estate and what I do. So you don't really need credit.
Yeah.
You don't need any really little to no money, right? And you need a little bit of education, and you don't need a real estate license. It's really that easy. And I actually want to teach as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Even though I know a lot of people, I'll teach them, they're not going to follow the steps, but there might be that one person, that myself, that might follow that and become, whatever they become. I have an ex-coworker of mine. He bought my course, followed everything, and he actually made $19,000 on his first deal. So, and he only spent like $300.
Wow.
So, it's out there, man. I know with social media, it's very hard now to trust people. There's a lot of hoax and scams and all of that, but real education's out there. Real money's out there. You just have to put your forth effort into it.
Yeah, so that's interesting because, like online, you never really know like what's involved with a course or, everybody's selling stuff nowadays.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
The beautiful thing about social media and the era that we live in is that knowledge is abundant. But when you really start to invest in yourself and the things that you're interested in, there's a lot of people that are interested in real estate. And it's cool, but then, the first thing you think is like, let me go get a license.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, so basically, when you get your real estate license, right, guys, what you're doing is you're getting your license to represent somebody, okay, kind of like a lawyer, all right? So when you get your real estate license, you're able to represent somebody because you're educated, right? And in return of providing that value, you get what's called a commission, right? So that's what realtors do. Now, what I do is essentially I'm buying the property, right? But since I'm selling it really quickly, I'm not having to use any I don't have to represent the buyer or the seller because I'm buying it. So it's kind of like saying, hey, Los, this is what I'm going to give you, 120 grand. And on that paper, I'm basically saying that I'm the buyer, right? And then in return, on this side, when I'm selling the property, I'm the seller. So I'm not representing anybody, right? I'm actually coming off as the buyer and the seller directly. So that's why you don't need a real estate license. Now, I have my real estate license, so I would suggest, if you have the money, you have the time, and you want to learn everything about your craft, go ahead and do so. But you don't need to, right? And then the second thing is honestly, vetting these people that you see on Instagram, right? There's a lot of people, man, that were just born with a silver spoon, that they can come out there and literally say, hey, buy my course, but the money is really from their parents because they've had money the whole time. So what I would say is in every type of industry, just vet it. What I say is documentation over presentation, right? On Instagram, social media, perception is everything, right? I just bought a Tesla. If I post me in a Tesla, you automatically might think whatever you want to think, but you might not know maybe life is not that great for me, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is vet people or look at people or ask questions that are gonna go ahead and give you more of a comfortable feeling. See how they're going with things. And what I try to do is basically when you're buying and selling houses, you get what's called a receipt, right?
Yeah.
And that receipt, the term for that is called a HUD, right?
Okay.
So I show the receipt of the transaction, basically stating that my company is getting paid X amount of dollars, so that you can know that there's no fluff, there's no scam. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And that's important. Like, I like how you say that. Like, you really gotta vet it. Yeah. And if this is what you're interested in, anything that you're interested in, you should try to know it backwards and forwards. Like, go out and do the research. Google's a wonderful resource, but it can only get you so much to where you got to start putting in the dollars, and what you get what you pay for. I think as far as when it comes to gaining knowledge,
100%.
You really do.
There's millionaires that are created off YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube is free.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much education out there. I know somebody that sells pallets. The wood pallets that come with the fruit, like that supermarkets get. I know somebody that literally just picks them up from different warehouses and sells them each pallet $7 a pallet.
Wow.
So if he has 1,000, do the math.
7,000. Yeah.
So there's businesses out there that are literally, you would be like, man, that's a crazy business. How would I even know about doing that?
Yeah.
So I think you just literally have to find out what it is that you're interested in, vet that person or look at that industry and tell yourself, is this what I want to do? And just go in it, 10 toes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And how do you suggest like getting started? Because there may be people that don't have money. They may be thinking like, I got to come up with 120 grand for a property. But how do you go about that process?
So essentially what I would say, if you want to start out doing what I'm doing, is I would honestly just look for vacant houses in your neighborhood, right? So what we call it driving for dollars, right? Okay. So we're driving for money. And we just go around our local city and we're just looking for houses that seem to be distressed, right? High grass, roof is messed up. Maybe there's no blinds in the window, garage, stuffed mail, no garbage cans because the city took it, papers on the door. And honestly, you can make a lot of money just by referring them over to me. Because the thing is now you're bringing me something that I want to go ahead and help somebody else out with. So I have to pay you a referral, right? Yeah. So that's how you'd be able to get started and get your capital up, as well as just going on YouTube or following me. And, I have a lot of tips. Like I just dropped a video, 4 tips on how to talk to somebody if they're motivated to sell. In all reality, man, as long as you have somebody that is interested in selling at a good price point, you could make a lot of money. So the funny thing is that I've had friends come over to me and they're like, hey, I got a property, that my uncle, he's behind on payments, wants to sell it or whatever. And I pay them a referral fee of $5,000. Okay. Sometimes it's the most money they've ever made in their life. Yeah. Right. So with that money, right, you could take that and say, hey, how do I do this again? Except I don't have another cousin or uncle, but how do I find other people, that I can go ahead and do this with? So, or even now, if you don't really need the stimulus package, why not go ahead and invest that money into learning?
Yeah, absolutely.
So essentially, like I said, you really don't need too much education. It's really kind of just a script, a little bit of real estate knowledge, and the tenacity of just getting to the next yes, right? So what we preach is, the first 10 seconds will lead you to the next 15 seconds, right? And if you're a people person and you think that you know how to solve problems and connect with people, you're going to do fine. Yeah. That's really all it is. And in life, it's just providing value. What I love about my job is that I get paid based off the value that I bring to somebody, not off the hourly that I'm getting paid. Yeah. So if God said, hey, listen, man, this deal that you did, it was $20,000. This is what you're going to get paid. And that's the value that I brought to them. Right. Okay. So I would always go ahead and tell people once again, don't settle for what the next man tells you that you're worth. Settle for what God tells you that you're worth. And find something that you can really make all parties win, Yeah,
and I think that's important, just like making sure that you're focused on the right things, that you're doing the research and taking the opportunities, because somebody could be listening to this and they're interested in real estate. Yeah. This is a good place to start.
Yeah.
You know, if you're interested, follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Blue Notes Brandon, and as well as, I mean, I also teach people how to become homeowners or even landlords with little to no money down. Yeah. So we have a method called Subject 2, which is basically you're taking over somebody's mortgage payment, but the mortgage stays in their name, and they just basically give you the house. So now all you have to do is make that payment on behalf of their name, and now you'll get to live in the house or do whatever it is with it. Okay. So people are like, you know, that might sound confusing, right? But let's just say you're going, you know, somebody's going through divorce, or let's just say it's a hard time like right now, right? You got laid off or whatever, and you were already kind of behind on your payments. I would come to them and say, hey, listen, you know, I can go ahead and take over these payments for you. You wouldn't have to worry about getting a pre-foreclosure or your credit being, you know, demolished for the next 10 years. Or even maybe I can give you $1,500 and you can find yourself another place. Now, guess what? I own the house. And if they're paying $1,000 a month, all I got to do is make that payment. So now I'm a homeowner, right? And I didn't have to go ahead and qualify for a house. I didn't have to do anything. I can do what I want with it. So either I can go ahead and now rent that property out for $1,500, and the difference is $500 to what I'm paying the bank, or I can fix it up and live in it myself. I can do whatever I want with it.
So how would that work if it's still in their name?
So the perfect thing about it is that, right, Uncle Sam just wants their money, right? So it's kind of like, who do you have right now as a wireless carrier?
T-Mobile.
If I paid for your T-Mobile bill, would they come after you or me?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the same thing is kind of with the bank. If you're making that payment, it really doesn't matter, right? But essentially, you know, we have power of attorneys and certain documents that help with that. It's not as easy as it sounds, but, you know, potentially you can become an owner with no credit, no, you know, debt to income, no qualifications or anything, just literally helping people out. Yeah. Because I bet there's somebody in your neighborhood or somebody that you might know that maybe is falling behind on their mortgage or maybe can't keep up with their payments, and you can help them out. And some people, $1,200, you know, that could really help them out. So in exchange, it's like, hey, $1,200 and I take over your house. You were gonna lose the house anyways. So they say a big percentage of housing in America goes to pre-foreclosures. Okay. So there's many ways that you can learn how to do things in real estate, and I think it's like, you know, 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Yeah. And if you know 1,000 ways to make money, you'll never be broke.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your plan? Like,
so my plan was, and I'm happy I didn't stick to this plan. So my plan before was to get as many rentals as possible. But now with the way economy is going, if I would have had a lot of rentals, a lot of people probably wouldn't be able to pay. Yeah. So I would have been kind of a little bit screwed, right? But now in the future, it's to buy as many houses as possible, right? For pennies on the dollar. So the market is going to crash. And obviously, you know, the way to win life is literally Monopoly. The person with the most houses wins. That's the way I look at it. Okay. So if I can acquire more properties, right, and I can put more people in there, help them out, be a good landlord, I'll always make money, right? So the average person needs about $3,500, give or take, to live a decent lifestyle. Okay. So if I have, let's just say, 10 houses that are making me $300, right? That's already $3,000, right? Yeah. I now don't have to work every month. I literally already have $3,000 coming in passive, right? We call that mailbox money instead of hard labor money, working all the time. So if I can make $3,000 just from waking up, that's the really goal to live at life, right? Because what do we want to do? A lot of us wants to retire. Yeah. So a lot, you know, like I have my grandmother, she gets a pension. It's like $1,800 a month. So if I can retire, you know, early by just acquiring homes, why not? So my goal right now is to help as many people as I can, as well as purchase as many houses as soon as the actual market collapses.
Yeah, and I see like this is a prime opportunity for yourself because you already went through that process of putting your feet to the ground and, you know, really working and get that work ethic out there. And now you could elevate to the next level of teaching people. Exactly. Because then now you don't necessarily have to be out there, you know, driving for dollars, like you said. You could just be out there teaching people how to do it. Yeah. You back now in a teacher's position and they still making money.
Exactly.
But you don't have to be out there sweating and doing whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because you got to work for what you want. You know what I'm saying?
And I do want to put a disclaimer out there. I am the most skeptical person in the world. So when I started this business, I had a mentor that taught me, and, he was like, yo, put out these signs and I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars if we get a deal. We get a deal. And, our first deal, he literally paid me $2,000, and I'm like, wow. All I was doing was putting out signs, right? And then I remember one time a deal kind of was about to fall apart, and he kept saying, yo, it's not going to close. It'll be next week. And I thought he was going to rob me. But it really was just real estate, right? That happens all the time, man. So if there's a lot of skeptical people out there, all I would say is, listen, vet that person and just be open. If something right now in your life isn't working, then you got to try something else, right? If it just hasn't been working, it just doesn't work, right? Yeah. So you just got to try something else. But I think right now is the time to capitalize. Absolutely. And I think it's going to be a great time for America, even though right now it seems very dark and gloomy.
It does. Yeah, and you could prepare. This is the prime opportunity. You have so much time on your hands. People been asking for this situation, maybe not in the way that it happened, but they've been asked to be put in the position they're in.
Yeah.
And you have time on your hands. You could pick up his course or just go on your social media.
Yeah, for sure.
You do your little research, watch all his videos, because you be putting free game out there.
Yeah, I try to put as much free game as I can. I mean, and like I said, it doesn't all pertain to real estate. It could just be talking to people or selling anything, right? So I just dropped a video, a little Instagram video, which is how to just talk to sellers. But you can do it in any way, right? But yeah, I mean, essentially, like I said, I mean, I think things been going well for me the past couple of years, but it has been a roller coaster. There has been times where I just wanted to quit. Absolutely. I think, I asked God a lot, hey, listen, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. I want to be rich. And once I became, not rich, because I'm far from rich, but once I became financially stable, I noticed that that's not everything in the world, right? That having money doesn't cure everything, right? I started seeing my health going down, relationships in my family going down, things of that nature, to where I was like, man, I don't know if I wanted all of this. So sometimes the grass is, isn't green on the other side. I will say that I love, being able to teach people, and I love being able to make money. But if he was to give me this when I was younger, I would have screwed it all up, right? Some people wake up every day and they're like, man, I want to make money. Like, how can I make money? And I look at it this way. Why is God right now putting you in that position to where you're not successful? Because sometimes who you're hanging around with, maybe your perception on your your life right now, or what you've been doing, guys, like, if I put you in that position, you're not going to do what I want you to do with it right now, because your mentality is off. And I think back in those days, if I was to be able to have the opportunities I have now, I would have used it for all the bad things. And now I think I'm using it for better things.
Absolutely. So what are some things that you've learned going through those types of situations where your health is deteriorating, like relationships are kind of being fumbled?
Man, I think it's kind of like the boy that cried wolf, right? Yeah. It's kind of like, you want something, and I wouldn't say I was willing to do anything, right, to get it. But it kind of just showed me, it was like, hey, man, God was like, listen, you got everything. You got the motivation, you got the work ethic, you're smart, and what you don't have is, maybe I don't know how to communicate right with my family, right? Because I feel like it's just like a love and hate relationship, since we've always had that. They've always thought like, yo, you gonna be locked up, or you gonna be this, or you gonna be that. It's like I've always wanted to prove them wrong, right? So I think I was going so hard, to try to make money to win them over, and found out that really that money is not gonna win people over, right? Because what happens is that sometimes people just want love, man. Sometimes people just want to be treated good, right? Sometimes people just want you to do well for them. Not everything is always about buying people. Yeah. And that's what I've noticed out of being successful, is that not everything is just about, hey, I can pay you off, or, you're going to hang out with me because I have money. Yeah. It's not like that.
Yeah, and it's like, that's what's important. That's what life is really about, is those things, because material things, like you said before, money is not the cure for everything. It may bring happiness, you know what I mean? Yeah. It may help that you don't got to worry about certain things. But what's really important is those relationships.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's definitely been an obstacle, but each and every day, you know, you learn. I wouldn't go back on anything. I love the way it transpired, and I think it's worked out for the best, you know. And like I said, it's just good, man, to see people like you and other people that I grew up with doing positive things. And even if they're not, you know, where they want to be in life, I'm trying to help as many people as I can, whether it's showing them what I do or just giving them advice and education. You know, I still hang out, right? I still have friends that aren't doing the best things in their life, right? And I still go out clubbing from time to time. I still drink, you know, and I still do stuff that maybe I shouldn't be doing, right? But at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah.
And I think it's just learning from those mistakes, right? And being positive on the throne of positivity.
Yeah, word. Yeah, and it's just about a balance. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to like kind of bringing God into it a little bit. It's not like he doesn't want you to go from one day to the next and all of a sudden you're this super righteous, holy person.
Exactly.
You know, what's important is that you have to seek him for yourself, you know, and look for that relationship, because a relationship with like a family member is not, they're your brother no matter what. You know what I mean? They family and blood no matter whether they doing good or they're not.
100%. Yeah. And that's what I've noticed, man, that I thought, you know, being, you know, successful, they'll all love me. Everybody will love me. It just don't work out that way. Sometimes, like they said, right? More money, more problems, man. So, and that is true too. But I think it's always one of those things, right? If you're a captain, if you're a leader, you know, you're built for that. You want to be able to be like, yo, you know what? I got you. I got everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm gonna help everybody out. This is what I wanted to be anyways, you know? But yeah, man, I think it's just something to where right now we're in a weird situation, and I think it's life resetting itself.
It is.
So whatever has been going on in your life right now, the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you know, your whole life, if you've been not doing what you've been wanting to do, you feel like you have, you know, just not been that person that you should have been living up to. Right now is the time to reset. Right now is the time to go with what's going on with the economy and say, hey, listen, everything's starting out at zero. I might as well start out at zero. And if that could be moving, that could be changing your job, that could be changing your friends, changing your relationship, or it could just be yourself wanting to do something better, you know, and just saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to try something new, because the world is about to be trying something new.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to just like reflect within yourself, restore relationships, do that research for the things that you're interested, and just keep pushing forward. Like, positivity doesn't necessarily mean being optimistic about everything, because you're not just a one-track minded, two-dimensional person. Like, you're gonna feel negative, you're gonna feel like, you know, this ain't working, and you're gonna feel that doubt, you know, on your mission or your journey to success. But the important thing is to look at things realistically, take account of what's necessary, that sacrifice to move forward. And are you willing to make that sacrifice?
Yeah, and we talk about this in entrepreneurship, is that why. You know, that why. You know, why are you going to do something? You know what I'm saying? Why are you going to, you know, my why was my grandmother, my family. And every single time that I, you know, had a hardship, or I got a no, or I got some negative feedback, I would literally just think about my why, right? Have a picture of my family, or have a picture of my grandmother, to understand, like, you know what, this is why I'm doing it. Because a lot of people, man, this might offend some people, but a lot of people are selfish. And I'm saying this to say this, that you're out there, you know, let's just say partying or doing whatever it is that you're doing, and there's people at home that are counting on you to win, right? Who's going to be that first millionaire in their family? Who's going to be that first six-figure earner? Who's going to be that person that's going to say, yo, I got you? You know what I'm saying? You know, coronavirus is here. Your bills are late. I got you. I got you, you know? So don't be selfish. There's people out there that are counting on you, like your family, your friends, your relatives, acquaintances, that are counting on you to win. And they might not tell you, right? There's brothers and friends of mine that I don't talk to, you know? But I know that right now, if they called me and they needed something, I would give it up. Yeah. Because this is what I work hard for. I work hard to be able to say, I got you. So don't be selfish. Don't feed into the poison, right? Of every day just settling for less. Exactly. Wake up and tell yourself, listen, I can't be, it's not about me no more. It's about my family. What am I going to do to help everybody out? Because, you know, you would want that for they would want that for you, and vice versa.
Yeah, and that's what my main thing with the throne of positivity. That's why I say like this is where the first is last and the last is first, is because I want to become successful, not even for myself,
Exactly.
and not only for my family, but I want to create something in this world where I have the resources to help people that are in need. Because it just gets to a point, you know, where you making enough income that is like anything beyond that, what's the purpose?
Yeah,
And that's not
yeah.
true for everybody, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, no, I
But
agree.
for me
Yeah.
personally, and it's like I think what's more important for me is like I just want God to bless me so I could bless people around me, and take that leadership position of leading from the back and making sure everybody in front of me is good and set.
Yeah.
Where it comes to situations like this where you know, people are in need. And I'm glad you brought that up because I've been in prayer lately. And one of the things that I felt, even though I don't got it like that, like what I want to start doing is, you know, taking a portion of my check and like on social media or anything, if there's anybody that needs, like really needs, you know, you don't got toilet paper in your crib or you don't got food, you don't got this, like I could give whatever I can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not to be seen because for me, it don't matter. Like
Yeah.
I don't care that anybody sees me.
Yeah, man. God really sees, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think at one point in my life, I was atheist. You know, one point in my life, I was, my family does a lot of santeria, so, and all of that stuff, I stopped, man. You know, once I really, 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 you know, started becoming in tune with what I wanted to do, God really notices you. But the thing is that you have to. It can't be a one-way relationship.
It can't.
You know, a lot of times he's showing us love, man, but we're not showing him love back.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, there's gonna be times where he's gonna be, you know, you're not gonna feel him there. You're not gonna think that he's there, but he's there, man. You know, but it can't be a one-way relationship. So you got to do your part.
Absolutely.
Right. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So have faith, keep your faith. And I think it was great, man. The throne of positivity is fantastic. I think a lot of people out there putting a lot of negative and stupidity on and online and stuff like that. So bringing positivity to social media as well as, you know, to everywhere, just spreading love. I mean, I think it's something we need to do more and more often.
We do, man, because it's easy to put the negativity, and that's what
real easy.
We want to go towards the dramatic. We gravitate towards that negativity, and it is hard. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to put positivity out there, and it's just like, you know, people want to hear if they want to hear. But,
yeah, for sure. But I commend you for doing this, and I commend you for, you know, I would tell you keep doing this, and this is, you know, this is what God wants you to do. Absolutely. Every day put out a video. Every day invite somebody if that's what you got to do.
And that's what it is, man. It's the throne of positivity. I'm here with Majestic.
There we
I
go.
appreciate you coming out, bro, because like, you know, it's hard to see a vision in its conception, and for you to like see all of that and be able to articulate it so well, it means a lot, and that shows that God is real. I'm not gonna front, like this week I was like, yo, I'm not even gonna put out videos. Yeah. Like, because it just got to the point that it's like, bro, like, what's the point in this? And then out of nowhere, you just hit me up when that thought came in, and it's like God is always gonna put together.
And going back to that feeling that I had, right? Like, I know, you know, we was gonna do it before, and then, you know, I told you, you know, whatever happens, and then we'll probably postpone it. Yeah. But I saw one of your videos. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it was just something to where it's like I didn't want to write you. Yeah. But like I had to send it to you. I felt like it was God like saying, yo, you have to go. Yeah. You have to go ahead and go on there and talk about that because this man is doing something good. And if you don't do it, you know what I'm saying? Like, this could be an opportunity for other people to know whatever. So it was like one of those throw up moments. God was like pushing me so hard. Wow. And I was like, I gotta go. Even this morning, right? I was supposed to be here at 1 this afternoon, and I was like, yo, I woke up and I'm like, man, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if he says I can't come at 2, I'm just not gonna go. But you like, that's cool. So it's like sometimes, man, it's like if everything goes that way, it's just meant to be. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, because it's easy to just get caught up. And what my main purpose with the podcast specifically is, like, you're an individual, you know what I'm saying? And you've been through experiences, you got situations you've gone through, and there's somebody else that's in a similar predicament maybe they don't got their father in their life. Maybe they're the black sheep of the family, and their whole family rejects them, and they're the only ones that want to do better for their family. And then you come on here and you giving a light, bro. Like, you're a light. Yeah. You know, there's people that can't even see. All they see is darkness. You know what I mean? They don't have taste in their food, but the Bible says you're the light of the world and you're the salt of the earth. So I appreciate you coming and bringing and spreading.
Yeah, man, for sure. And like I said, everything out there, you know, could help. If I can help one person, if this could help one person, why not? Yeah. Right? Because that one person could be saving somebody's life, or it can be making the next millionaire, right? Yep. So I'm excited, and I'm really happy I came on here, and I'd love to come back. Maybe next time we could do it on a more of a instead of you know, education, whatever, more of just like a regular you know, talk. Absolutely. About, you know, whatever.
Anything.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna do it. This ain't the last time. Again, I appreciate you blessing me with your presence, your knowledge, your wisdom, everything. I hope this was a blessing for all of you guys. Again, go ahead and follow him on Instagram. Go get those gems in that course.
There you go. Blue Nose Brandon. See you guys soon.
All right, I'm going to link it in the bio. Y'all know what it is. We on the throne of positivity, where the first is last and the last is first. We out.